Hello YouTube, it's me, your boy Rahul, and today is another video, a little bit different from my normal stuff. We're going to continue the video essays on Friday. Oh, maybe not, actually, we're going to battle breakdown, but the video essays will continue by the time Brilliant starts this out. It is my birthday by the time you guys are watching this. I am 26 years old, and so I didn't have time to prepare or do anything. I went out to dinner and stuff, that's why I look all nice, but and I'm a little bit under the influence of love. So we're going to do a tier list for Brilliant Stars Pokemon TCG. It's going to be our first look. It's a kind of an overreaction, I guess. Zapdos TCG made it, and I can't wait to see how wrong I am in about a month and a half. So let's jump right into it. A lot of these decks, I haven't even looked at this yet. I kind of separated into tier 0, which I think is like S tier, like this deck is broken, like beyond every belief, like you gotta play it, that kind of deal. Tier 1, 1.5, 2, 3, and then don't play this, which is just like a put it in your binder or whatever. So we're going to kind of go through all these plethora of decks that Mr. Zapdos TCG has laid out for us. And you guys can do your own tier list in the link down below. I'll leave it there. Yeah, we'll go through our honest opinions. Now we got Infernape. We're going to go ahead and don't play this. I think Zard is going to go into tier 2 because I think Magma Basin's good. I think the V-Star attack is very good. And I think you can kind of pepper in a lot of fun attackers into the deck. That being said, I still think it's going to have a lot of weaknesses amongst some of the top decks and some of the lists I see in this list here. So yeah, it's going to go into tier 2. I'm going to put Raichu into tier 1. No, we haven't had any like actual confirmation of Raichu or what it's going to be paired with, but I'm assuming it's like a Flaffy build with single prize attackers, like kind of an electric box. And I think that's going to be a very broken tier 1 deck, in my opinion. You have a bunch of tier 1 like single prize attackers like Zekrom, Zapdos, like whatever, like they do a ton of damage. Raichu can clean up. It's your big one-shotter in a game. Raihan plus a couple of energies already on your board with Flaffy, plus Flaffy, like you can set this guy up in a matter of no time. RCS V-Star gets you your combo piece if you need to play that card as well. Very good. What does Mimikyu VMAX even do? What does this card do? I can't read Japanese. That's really unfortunate. Why did I go to images? Let's go to all. Now you guys can tell how like unprepared this is based on how this is going. All cults number, 4 damage counters. If I played Ace Rosal's Premonition, play 13. Dark Weakness? Yeah, Dark Weakness. So I think like a Disruption style deck for this would be cool. So I'm going to put it in tier 3 because I don't think it's necessarily bad because it attacks for 2 Psychic as opposed to not 2 Psychic. And it shreds a card from hand. And I mean, the weakness is bad, but it is what it is. The Mimikyu V is good overall. So I think it can be played. I'm also going to put this Lucario in tier 3 because it is one of those single prize decks that accelerates to itself, does a ton of damage, and I feel like could be a little bit of a sleepy tech. This Cafe Master Alchemy deck, I really don't know what the hell's going on here. I'm going to put it on the discard. Not the discard. Don't play this deck. This doesn't seem good. Beedrill Zapdos? But why? Are we just like targeting dark type decks and special energy? I'm going to put this in don't play this. Just because, like, unless your metagame is really special energy dependent and, like, fighting weakness weak or whatever, and Galarian Zapdos just pops off, this seems terrible. Like, I would just play other cards, like, over this deck. Arceus Inteleon, tier 2. Anything Arceus can't be below tier 2, in my opinion. I think Arceus is just a broken card. I think it's going to kind of make its way into any deck and automatically make it good by existing in that deck, just by virtue of what Arceus does. Blissey, tier 3. I think Blissey is cool. It's one of those cards that gets greatly beneficial from some of these new healing cards, the Dawn Sparse, Arceus V-Star as well. Double Turbo Energy. All these cards make Blissey much, much better. And you have Charon's Care to pick up these big Blisseys that might get one-shot, might get bench sniped, whatever, you know, that kind of deal. Very cool deck. Don't play this. It's another single prize deck that seems necessarily bad. Where are the fun single prize decks on this list? Are there any fun single prize decks on this list? I don't know. Whatever. I'm going to put this in don't play this. Don't play Bolton. Don't do that. Carbonite, I think, is tier 2. No, tier 1.5. I'm actually putting Carbonite in tier 1.5 because I think we finally have a way to keep our bench guys alive. Ultra Ball gives this deck a gigantic boost, in my opinion, by being able to get metals and stuff into the discard very well. Bronzong is very strong, and I think Choice Helmet gives you a lot of damage modifiers that you were missing, especially into things like V-Stars. And I think the deck overall has like a lot of healing options. You can play Cheryl's, you can play whatever. Luminion also is really, really good in this deck. Luminion plus Ultra Ball plus Manaphy make this deck very strong, I think. Victini, I think, stays tier 1.5. I think Victini's always been tier 1.5, just because the attack going second, max victory, is always going to be very, very strong. And paired with cards like Crushing Hammer, etc., it's just going to make it stronger. And now that you have Magma Basin available to you as well to power up a Victini in one turn, you now lose the negative attribute of going second and not having a way to power up two Victini VMAXs back to back in case the first one gets knocked out. But now you have Magma Basin to power it up. Sorry, excuse me. And you can still play your disruption cards like Crushing Hammer, Fan of Waves, Flannery, all those cards. And you really don't lose anything because you can still play your Kabu engine or whatever. Don't play Sense of Scorch, card sucks. I guess you could technically pair it with Magma Basin and Arceus, but the damage output I feel is way too low, and there's too many water decks that are too good to even play. Chandler, again, I think that's also going into the don't play deck. Chandler is very cool, but I feel like it's very hard to get someone with your max Poltergeist attack in a good way. Same thing, I think Cinderace VMAX is not a good single strike Pokemon. If you're going to play Houndoom with other single strike attackers, make it fun at least, make it good at least, make it Lycanroc at least, I think, in my opinion. Cinderace Cinccino seems actually decent. I would actually play this in a tier 3 single prize deck. A lot of these single prizers decks that we're having trouble setting up accelerating are going to be able to do way better now because Manaphy just makes it so you don't get completely wiped. But that does you still have the problem of taking a lot of damage out of nowhere and your board getting wiped out of nowhere as well. Cram, Aracuda, nope, don't play it. Don't. Malamar is going to go into tier 2. I think Malamar with 1.5. I'm going to give it 1.5 because I think the Cynthia's Feelings plus the Choice Helmet are going to give this deck a lot of gusto that it was missing earlier. And this is just going to make the deck get a lot of pieces that it was originally missing. And that's just going to make it significantly stronger. The one extra card from Cynthia's Feelings, the extra 30 damage from Choice Helmet, both of those go a very long way because a lot of the time you're one card short of knockout. And now by seeing one extra card plus one extra 30 damage, very good, very strong. Eternatus tier 3. Path to the Peak is still really, really hard for you. And there's also now a stadium that puts you to 4 bench. This does not feel good if you're an Eternatus player. It does not feel fun. I don't know why Shaman is in here. But I guess, a grass-style deck can go into tier 3 here. I like Delmise a lot. I think Delmise is very strong. I would still play, Leafeons and stuff in this list. And maybe play a splash between Shaman V-Star and Leafeon V-Star. Because I think that Delmise is a very cool attacker. And Leafeon can power it up if you go first to the point where you can attack second with the VMAX. But I'm not sold on this. It's not bad though. Durant I'm going to put into tier 3 because I know there's a bunch of Durant simps that watch my video. And people who like Devour. You're welcome. You can have this one. Don't ever ask me for something again. Like this. Dude, some of these decks just kind of blow. What was our boy thinking? Okay. I'm going to put Suicune, Entei. I don't think it's as good as tier 2, but it's going to go into tier 3. No, I think it's fine. I think it can keep up with these decks. That's the kind of the merit I'm using. It's not as bad as these decks for sure. This 2-prize Kit and Caboodle deck with Entei, Suicune, Melanie, Magma Basin. You can even play Raikou in there. Melanie onto the Raikou. You have this 3-type energy wheel with the fleet-footed. The 2-prize attackers fill your bench, whatever. I don't know what else you can add in there. Arceus V-Star can easily slide into the deck like this. Seems pretty cool. Leafeon, tier 2. I think Leafeon's not amazing, but with the V-Star, it kind of makes sense that it might just be strong. It might just get good because of that card. Manaphy is good as well. You can also slot in a B-Barrel into this deck because Leafeon always kind of goes down on hand size. So having a B-Barrel seems very strong. Jolteon is going to go sparingly into tier 3. I think Jolteon is going to lose a lot of momentum with Manaphy coming out, and your path combos are not as strong anymore. Yeah, that's just pretty much it. Jolteon takes a big hit from everything across the board, and I just think that it's going to have to take a backseat for a little bit. Dragonzolt also down to tier 3. Same idea as Victini, where you have a ton of healing, all that stuff. So it can still be very, very strong. It's one of those decks that I've never thought was better than tier 3 anyway, and I don't think it's going to change. I think Sylveon's going to get better, simply due to virtue of having Manaphy be an automatic bench spot of that coloring type. Ultra Ball being very, very strong. And Double Turbo Energy also lending an assist into this style of deck. Rayquaza, I think, still is tier 3. I think Rayquaza doesn't change. Unfortunately, I think even Arceus doesn't give it the boost it needs. I guess it comes out of don't play this to maybe a tier 3 strategy, because you can now play Flaffy with the Manaphy engine as well. Your damage output isn't great still, but you can kind of play a different style of build with the Rayquaza deck and go from there. Duraludon is tier 1.5 as well still. There's a lot of special energy decks still floating around, but one prize with basic energy, you're going to get way better, so actually it's going to go down to tier 2. And then by that virtue, all of a sudden your like effectiveness of your ability goes way down. And yes, you're not getting one shot, but the game still gets really hard if you're not effectively using your ability, in my opinion. I guess this is fine to be a tier 3 deck. Like Flareon VMAX seems very strong to just get cards rolling, the ball rolling, a lot of damage, whatever. So that's where I put it. Control is going to go tier 2 at the very least. I think Control is going to be very strong. I just think as a simple like nutshell, like it will still be a very good deck. It will still be very strong in what it's supposed to do, and that's not going to change. Tier 2, again, Inteleon Rapid Strike is going to go in there. I think that's going to be another really, really strong deck still. It was kind of overshadowed by Mew existing, but I think this deck will still have some time to do stuff. Mew is going to go into tier 1. It is not going into tier 0, surprisingly enough. Yes, it has everything going for it, but I think every other deck gets better strictly. So, and Mew doesn't gain anything. So when you're at like a net even and everyone else gets better, you are now just a worse deck. That's as simple as it is. Gengar is tier 2. Probably a better single strike option than Flareon, and then single strike I think still slots into tier 1, tier 1.5. So Gengar is like your tier 2 option, and you can play like a speed Gengar with VIP pass, etc. Greedent is tier 3. Like, bro, come on. Greed sucks. Genesect, Toxicity. I actually think there's merit to playing this now. I think you can go into tier 2. No, I'm going to put it in tier 3. But I think there's merit to playing a version like this and see how it works. Hoopa Genesect. Tier 3 as well. Your typings are not amazing still. And I mean, you're very reliant on Alessa's Sparkle / like E-Switch Moltres combo, Metal Saucer, whatever like combo you want to play. Ice Rider tier 1. I think Ice Rider is getting a boost from Choice Helmet. The pings numbers make a lot more sense. Your engine makes a lot more sense. You have Luminion, so you don't really brick anymore, and you can get whatever exactly you need. You don't even have to play the Inteleon engine anymore, in my opinion. You can just play whatever if you wanted to. The Inteleon engine is still good. It's just you don't have to. Yeah. This is a tier 3 fun deck. Cryogonal, Kyogre. Fun as always. Don't play Mad Party. Even though you get Manaphy, Mad Party is not going to be any better. Double Turbo Energy. Yeah. And Ultra Ball. Yeah. Mad Party is still not going to be any better. You don't have that Dedenne plus Research Effect in one turn, which just kind of gave it the oomph it needed. And you don't have that. You just simply do not have that anymore. So that's... Just don't play it, please. Same with Mimikyu again. The Ace Rolls Premonition thing. Whatever, it's okay. It's going to slot into tier 3. It's a very okay deck. Single Prize, Bonanza, tier 1.5. I think Single Prize Dark type deck was always tier 1.5, tier 1 level. It just took time for Mew to be good. I think it still beats a lot of decks now that you have Manaphy and Bibarel and Choice Helmet. You're also not dying as easily, so they have to go through 6 prizes. Single Prize, Single Strike Pokemon deck. I don't know what the Abomasnow is doing there, but I'm going to equate this to like a Lycanroc, Houndoom, whatever build, and I'm going to count this in here. Tier 1.5 is a single price deck again, so it's a little bit shaky, but whatever. In Obstagoon tier 3, no, actually, dude, just don't play Obstagoon. Put that in your binder, delete it, fucking throw the cards away, burn it, whatever you want to do. Pachirisu, Honchkrow, tier 1.5. I think this deck is also going to be really cool. No, tier 2. I don't think it's better than some of these decks in here. It's tier 2 because I think the tools don't leave the board. Honchkrow is a very cool ability. You do get shredded by Path, to be honest, but your Honchkrow doesn't die very easily, because you can put like 7 capes on this guy and like 18 like whatevers, and deck is playable. Why is Pika big with Flaffy? I don't want that guys to be together. I don't want this unholy combo to exist. But tier 3, I guess, like Big Peak kind of blows, but if you just put Flaffy with anything else like the Raichu engine, it's just better. Entei tier 2, I guess. Entei just plus cape. I feel like these two decks are the exact same. I don't really know what the difference here is, and I'm going to be completely honest with you on that. Inteleon's tier 3. I think there's like a big divide in what this Inteleon can do and what some of these other decks can do, and that's kind of where I put it there. Draga is again tier 3. I don't think Draga is very strong. You share a typing that's really bad for you, and a lot of the new decks are going to be able to do more damage. Yes, Draga can. I'll put Draga into just because it can go through Manaphy. So Reggie, Drago, Cherim could go into tier 2 this time, because I think it is still a very high rolly, like do a ton of damage kind of deck, and you have to have a good opening hand. But you do have Manaphy now, and you have Bibarel again, 2 cards that draw you a bunch of cards. and play the game for you in a better way. And then you have Choice Helmet as well. So you get 3 very, very cool cards that kind of help this deck out. Sableye Weezing. Not there. You're going in tier 0, baby. It's the only deck I think that belongs in tier 0. Because I do think firmly that Weezing is a very strong card. And it's only going to get stronger with every other card coming into the format. And I think Sableye Weezing is a deck that people are going to perfect across the metagame. And I think it's going to be very, very strong. It's not a deck that I want to personally play, but I'm very, very scared of it every time I sit across the table from it, or I see the concept of it, which is simply the reason I think it belongs there. Salazzle, Weeping, Butterfree, tier 3, pretty easily to put there. Sandaconda Heal is also a tier 3 deck, because you can kind of survive super well, and it's fine. Alchemy Shadow Rider is still tier 2, I think. It gets better with the addition of, other stuff. And I'm going to put Shadow Rider Whimsicott in tier 1.5. I'm going to put it in tier 1.5. That's fine. Tier 1.5 is a great place to put it, just because I think you can do a lot of damage. But again, you're still a Shadow Rider deck that needs to set up and kind of play the ball the way you want to. Decidueye, I'm not even putting it in tier 3. Put this card in the dumpster. Don't ever actually let it see the light of day. Single Strike Regular is going to go into tier 1 as well. I think this deck can handle all these other decks in the format, especially this Weezing deck as well. But every other deck is kind of really like, it is like the Kingpin, like the Kingmaker, King Destroyer, like whatever deck. Like, it's your brute force deck of the format. Lapras, I mean, like, it's a VMAX deck. Throw it into tier 3, call it a day. It's nothing special. Stone Journer, this one is a VMAX deck, but it's also going into do not play this deck. I just don't think it's good. Suicune Ludicolo, tier 2 still. I think Suicune Ludicolo has a lot of potential still, and it's going to do a lot of damage. But they're going to be V-Star Pokemon that have more HP, do more than you, and also are 2 prizes. So that will change how the game is fundamentally played. Tapu Koko Electrode, tier 3. That's another lightning type deck that seems pretty good. I don't think it's going to be amazing. Nothing to write home about, but it is what it is. Togekiss. Now, this card is one I'm very excited for. I think it's going to be tier 1.5. I'm probably going to be very, very wrong about this, because people are going to probably like find a way to just like break Togekiss or like make it bad. But I think Togekiss plus Charon's Care, being able to get any 2 cards every turn, plus having Arceus V-Star in your deck to get that ability rolling, plus, like, I don't know, you can have a secondary backup like Moltres, E-switches, Leafeon, even play Grass, play Leafeon V-Star for the ability, play like these 2 prize guys in the deck. Like, you have so much flexibility when your whole deck is colorless typing. I just wouldn't play Tornadus with Houndoom. I just don't understand this. Torterra, I think, is actually very cool. I think Torterra is going to be a tier 2 deck. I want to try this deck. Now, I'll put it in tier 3 just because I haven't actually tried it and I don't have a list for it. But I think Torterra is going to be a very, very cool deck. And it might be working really, really well. Now, Urshi Melanie, I think, goes into tier 2. Urshi Melanie is so good because it's Urshi, but it's going to drop a tier because you can't continuously chain. Actually, Urshi Melanie, it's the same as the Jolteon treatment. You can't chain rapid flows, which is just going to make it really, really hard to play the game for you, which is what that deck really wanted to do. Now, Urshi Moltres is a tier 1.5 deck, in my opinion. It is not tier 1 simply because you lose the rapid flow ability once again that you were so predicated and so like heavily dependent on like closing out games. But it's a very cool deck, so it goes into 1.5 still. Vika Inteleon is going to go into tier 1.5 as well. I think Item Lock is going to be very, very, very strong. And by that logic, I think it's going to be able to carry its own weight and kind of play the game in a way that it wants to play. Leonzard is... it's tier S. I legitimately, unironically think Battle Sense Leonzard is tier 0. I think this is probably the best single prize deck out of all the decks. After carefully looking at all the single prize decks, Choice Helmet helps this math so much. Ultra Ball helps this deck so much. Manaphy helps this deck so much. Like, I am legitimately, and Fire Kindler or whatever, like, I am very, very excited to try out Leonzard. And I think this is a tier 0 deck. I think this deck is legitimately going to be one of the best decks in the format. I think it can run free on the format. I think it can reign the format. I think it's literally could be the best deck in the format. Don't crucify me, please. Wailord, Frostmoth, tier 3, just whatever. Whimsicott, Honchkrow, I just feel like it's an inferior version of the Pachirisu version, so I'm going to put it in tier 3. It just doesn't do what the Pachirisu does. Wormadam. Now, Wormadam is a really cool card, and by Wormadam being really good, I'm going to put that in tier 1.5. Tier 1, honestly. It's got all the typing you need. Wormadam is kind of broken. You have a Farfetch. You got Grass. You got Fighting. You got Metal. Wormadam is tier 1, and you guys can fight me on that one. Zacian Zam, tier 2, I think still. Zam has a very good ability. It kind of just gets you where you need to be. And then Zeraora Blaziken goes into tier 3 now. You lose a lot of versatility because Zeraora loses a lot of fun, I guess, basically because of Manaphy existing, but that is the list. Yeah, so that is my Brilliant Star early take on this list. We'll come back in a month and a half and look at what I was right, what I was wrong about, and what I felt like was good. And we're gonna do a lot of these lists on our own, so I can talk about my like thought process more about each of these decks when I get to those and when I'm a little more sober. But on that note, thank you guys for watching. Leave your comments below. If you don't say happy birthday, you hate me. And on that, I will see you guys on Friday for Battle Breakdown. If I have time tomorrow, I'll do another video essay, but I will have to work on it. So thank you guys.